So I want to talk about this very bad movie. I kind of want to say it's the worst movie of 2019 that came out in 2019 because I've watched worse movies this year. But when you know what I'm trying to say. This movie, I think it was called The Silence or The Silent or whatever. Um, it sucked. It was with I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I'm not gonna butcher it. But she plays Sabrina the Teenage Witch. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. You know what I'm saying. So this movie, the acting, I had no problem. The acting was great. Everyone was like, they gave, like, it was phenomenal. And that's not, but phenomenal for what the movie was. Like, you felt for the characters. They weren't like, they actually felt like characters. But I had some things that were just like, why? Now, I watched this movie like maybe a month ago, so I'm not going to remember. And you would think that I would do the good thing of like remembering their names or Googling it. No. So I'm just gonna put like the picture here of what I'm talking about. So, like, there's this best friend of the dad. He's like the uncle, and he's in the movie for I think probably like 10 minutes, and there really is no reason for him to be in the movie. Like, yes, he does kind of save them one time, but the rest, his presence wasn't, like, there wasn't this moment where you were like, oh, we needed him. Like, no, because, like, the dad stepped up. And I guess that maybe that was why he was killed. So his, like, the dad could, like, I don't know. It just felt very weird. And I think, you know, I know I said that I was going to talk about, I don't even know if I said that out loud or if I just said it in my mind that I was going to talk character by character, but I do want to, like, this isn't a linear type of thing. This movie, I felt like they tried to put too many things in such a small time frame. Like, I felt like they should have done, I mean, obviously not a season, because, like, I mean, they probably could have done a season, but that would have been just too long. But they could have taken things out way better, because I felt like there was this cult, and then there were the vampire things, and then the family issues, and the dog dying. Like, there was just a lot, and it felt way too rushed. It felt like things were just like happening, and like the one death that I was kind of like, why, was the grandmother, because the girl is going to get like kidnapped, and there's a part where they're like, oh, because she's fertile, and everyone's totally chill about it. I'm like watching this freaking out, like, what the, like, if a cult member, because it's a cult, tells you like your daughter is fertile, you're getting out of there, you're putting traps, you're doing whatever you can, and they're just very chill about it. They're like, so hold on. Okay, so they're very chill about it, and then the grandma, she's like, oh, I can, she's sick, and they're kind of like make it seem like she's like dying or something. So I guess, but she sacrifices herself for nothing, literally nothing. Like, they could have like not killed her, and killed her in a more like, they didn't even have to kill her. They really didn't. Like, it was the most pointless, useless death, and and the thing is, the Sabrina, I don't know what her, Kieran, I don't know how to pronounce her name, and the guy that she likes, they actually really like, they had chemistry because, well, or they're really great actors, but like, even though they showed us like probably 5 minutes of them, I love them. I wanted them to be together, but yeah, there was a lot of things like, for example, when they go to the house that's in like the forest, you're telling me that lady, that even though she lives by herself, she's not going to notice those bats flying around, that she just didn't notice them, she didn't make any noise, and she just comes out screaming, and then she just dies. And it's like, there were, like I said, it felt like too much, and nothing felt complete or resolved. um I feel like they could have focused on one thing more. Like, yes, we're kind of told where the vampires or whatever, I'm gonna call them vampires, pop up, but it just felt very like. And oh my god, there's this one scene where the mom, she gets like scratched or bitten by one of those vampire things, and they're like, oh, she needs medicine, and it's like, this vampire thing is like prehistoric, like it was stuck in a cave for like bajillions of years, and what do you mean that some medicine that was made a couple years ago is gonna work? And it works, she's cured, nothing happens to her. And it's like, why bother? Like, why was this needed if it wasn't going to play out to be something worse? I'm like, the cult thing just felt forced, just felt like thrown in there, and it wasn't for anything. Nothing at all. It just felt like the movie was putting a bunch of stories in it, and none of them reached the final, you know, final, whatever it's called. If it's the finishing line, the finishing line. It felt off. It didn't. I just, you know, it wasn't a good movie. The thing is, if I felt like if it would have been bad actors, then I would have been trash talking this movie. But the actors weren't bad. The actors were really good. They each really played, like their part. Their characters didn't feel one dimensional, and but it was still like the story just butchered it. And I would have loved it for to be focused on one or two things, but like I said, the cult thing just kind of throws you off. If they would have just focused on the cult or something, and it kind of was like, I don't know, it felt way off, essentially. And I know this is like the perfect review, right? Like, but and then at the end, oh my god. Okay, so at the end, we're shown that finally Kieran, and the guy that she likes, they're together and they're living like near Antarctica. What do I know? Like where it's very cold. And it's been like what, give or take 4 or 5 years, because now she has very long hair. So let's just say 4 to 5 years. And there's like this news or radio or something, or it's her narrating, and she's talking, and you're telling me that these things that have been underground for like a bunch of years have just learned to evolutionize so quickly that they couldn't stand cold weather. That's why all humans started going up, towards mountains. And then we're shown that they're laying eggs in like wolves. So you're telling me that it's just evolved like that so quickly, like. And it didn't even make me want to see the. I doubt they're gonna make a second one, but it made me not want to see the second one, because it was just kind of like, it felt so like, I feel like yes, they did good on focusing like one family, but I felt like even Bird Box was, they did it better in the sense of like each character felt whole, and they kind of made it work. Even everything centered around them, and there wasn't like even outer things. Like it felt complementary, jeez, to this storyline. Whereas this just felt like a lot of tentacles going places but not reaching anywhere. I don't know if my analogy makes sense, but that's how I felt like it was. And I was kind of disappointed because I really like Stanley. I think that's his name. He's such a good actor. I love him and whatever he is. And but yeah, there were some parts where like they make slight noise but nothing happens, and then sometimes they make no noise and it appears. So it was kind of like, I don't know, man. It felt off and weird. And like I said, I would have loved, like, oh, for example, in like, what's that movie, the zombie one, Z or something, or World War Z or something. That's not how it's called. With Brad Pitt, they do a really good job focusing on one family but with different aspects, and it all felt complete and complementary. That's not how you pronounce it, whatever. Whereas this movie did not, and this one had a smaller scale because it was in like a smaller like town neighborhood, and they went to the forest, so it wasn't like they were in a big city. But it just, something felt off, man. And the fact that they killed off like the uncle so fast and for like the dumbest reason, it's kind of like they were killing people for like the shock factor. But I wasn't being shocked. I was just being like, oh, he died for no reason. And like people could be like, oh, that's like real life, pessimistic. But like, no, like you want, like, for example, Game of Thrones, not gonna spoil anything, but people die in Game of Thrones, but usually people aren't pissed because they die. But people aren't pissed off in deaths when the death is right. And what I mean by that is that like if you kill off a character, kill them with what they deserve. So like if they're a fearsome warrior, don't kill them off with a stray bullet. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, and I'm still pissed about that. Like, if you give a rightful death, people aren't gonna get pissed off. But if they just die for stupid reasons, people are gonna be like, why? So I don't really want to like go into like this whole long me rambling, but honestly, this movie was just kind of like uneventful, forgettable, and it could have been more. It could have been more, and I don't know what went wrong since I don't know a lot about movies or the process. But the actors were perfect. Well, not perfect, but they did really well. Um, the scenery was really pretty. I just feel like something was just maybe the writing, maybe the script, maybe the storyline, and like the general. I don't know, but I just felt like it was too many elements. So that's my very rushed, very uninformed view review. Yeah.